Okay, thank you everyone for joining us on the Gradient Boost podcast. Today we have a guest who made me rehearse his name several times. It's Kwadwo. And also joining us, we have Vivian, one of our co-founders, and Akinloye, one of our students. So, Vivian, actually, I'm going to pass this on to you because you know our guest very well.
Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in again. So as just been said, one of the co-founders at the Gradient Boost, and today we have a very special guest. This is someone I've known. We've lived in the same community for a whole year, had some good memories. We climbed a mountain together. Yes, I had to say that. So everyone, welcome Keyo. I don't know how to pronounce his name still, so I just go by Keyo. Keyo, introduce yourself and just teach us how to pronounce your name one more time.
Okay, so hi, my name is Kwadwo. First name Kwadwo, but there are so many spellings for my name that I settled for KU nickname. So yeah, moving forward, I've stopped giving people the nickname, so they have to learn how to pronounce it.
That's fair. That's fair. So, where did you two first come across each other?
So we met at a program in Accra, Ghana. It's called Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology. In short, it's called MEST. It's a one-year program where you go and learn software entrepreneurship skills. And it was grueling for me, intense. I don't know how it was for you, KO. And basically, you learn communication, tech, and business skills. I'd have to say, KO wasn't learning any tech skills. He has that all down. So over to you, KO. How was the program for you, and do you think you learned anything technical wise?
Oh yeah. So I mean, MEST is a whole year of learning, and a lot of knowledge can fit in a year. So coming into the program, I'd been a teaching assistant at my old university, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. So as a teaching assistant there, so I knew a few things. I wasn't coming in a total noob to tech, but should I say I knew some things that were outdated. I had good fundamentals in programming, but web technologies, like my web technology stack really changed during my time at MEST. Yeah, I went more into JavaScript and Python and the rest, and that is during that period that I actually started to become involved in data science. So I actually learned a lot of tech. Uh, I learned a lot of business and a lot of communications too, but I slept in some of the business classes. So yeah, yeah.
Nice. So over to you, Jasmine.
So, this program, so that were they like teaching you, these tech skills like in a classroom environment, or was it just like a small part of the program?
Yes, so I would have to say we were being taught the tech in classroom environment. So normally the tech classes would have like a whole day as opposed to business and communications. Those would share a day and we'll have the classes like twice in a week. I'd have to say they compressed a lot of tech topics in 1 year. That would have to be a downside for me. But it built us to the point where we then went ahead and developed our businesses, which were the keywords they were supposed to be software inclined. Okay.
Mhm.
So then, with that said, Keo, my question to you is, right, given the skills we learned and plus the business skills, do you think it has helped you in your journey, considering you, in the end, we all started our ventures and have been working in them right now? So what would you say in terms of, has it been helpful, or do you need more?
Okay, I think it's been extremely helpful, extremely helpful. Knowing where I was before MEST, and I'm just the kind of person who my first inclination when I think of a career is not to work for somebody. When I think of a career, I always think of working for myself, owning something. So even if I work for somebody, I know I'm not going to die in that job. it will just be for a while and I'll have to move on. So the skills that go into that, what I got from MEST was invaluable. I cannot imagine myself starting a business without what I know now, like that I got from MEST. So it's been invaluable. I mean, I don't know for you. I think you have some more wider experience than I did coming in. I was just from school, TA-ship, and straight into this. So I don't know.
Yeah. So yes, coming into MEST, I had been working in different industries, but I had been a software developer for 1 year, so I had some foot in the game. But I'll also have to say, business-wise, I learned a lot, right? But the one thing I didn't know, Keo, is you were doing some data science classes on this side. So this was self-taught. Tell us about that.
Yes. So a lot of that. So this is how it started. I'm trying to remember the specific instance, but there was a day where I saw this video online. I just started learning React, right, React JS, and I saw this video online, and there was this. So there's a guy there with a camera, and the camera was showing to a board, and he was drawing wireframes, like sketching the outlines of the app. And as the camera was looking at it, there was a screen on the side that was running this computer vision software, and it was generating React code for what he was drawing on the board. And that is my job, or that's what I was learning to do. I'm learning to build software, and this is a program that is doing what I learned. So I realized, I mean, give this program a few years, it can take me out of the job. So what should I do to secure myself? I was like, okay, let me learn how to build that program. And that's when I first had an interest in machine learning and artificial intelligence, all of that, data science. So I started taking Andrew Ng's course on Coursera. Yeah, it was in Octave, and it wasn't easy, especially with MEST, because MEST is a full-time program, right? They house you, they feed you, like you are there to learn. So doing that together was tough. I remember I used to watch the videos at twice the speed because I couldn't, there wasn't enough time to combine everything. I had this little notebook where I would write out all this math, and I hadn't done math in a while because I'd been out of school for like a year. So putting all that together, it was tough. I didn't come out of it knowing everything there was to know, but at the very least, I got some pretty good ideas of what was required going further. So after that, I'll try a few more courses like deep learning.ai courses. I tried some on Udacity, and some I never finished, some I did. But in the end, I was able to have meaningful conversations with people who are actually in the field. I no longer sounded so ignorant when I was having these conversations. And I even went as far as to give a few talks and it was never really talks like, hey, I'm the AI guru coming to teach you guys. It was like, I'm learning this stuff, and this is where I've got into. I found this pretty interesting. So here's what I'm presenting, that kind of thing. So because I wasn't employed, I was in MEST full time. Besides what we were learning in class, I also had the opportunity, although it was still stressful adding it on, but I had the opportunity to learn what I wanted to learn for a year, and that's really changed the trajectory of my career. Yeah.
That's interesting. I can see that common thread between the two of you. Very, very driven. Vivian, I know that Keo, I know you own a pillow because I saw it in the background. But Vivian, I'm not convinced that you do. Oh wait, where'd you go? Sorry to point that out that you sleep. I'm sorry to reveal that big secret about you. Vivian, I don't think you sleep. But yeah, that's really cool that you both were able to do that for a full year, and then look at you both now. Akinloye, did you also come to data science because you were scared that a machine would take your job?
Well, yes, I did think of that. Yeah, so I studied business admin, and everybody was focusing on accounting and other things that a computer could basically do later on in life. So then I thought of digital marketing. Then I now ran into data science, and I fell in love with data science, and I started learning data science with the Gradient Boost. That's my short but quick journey.
Okay. And did you also do a bunch of, Udacity courses, Coursera courses, things like that?
Yes, actually, I didn't do Udacity. I started Coursera and Udemy, but I could not really keep up with them. I don't know why. I did not finish both of them. So I just let them aside to focus on learning with you guys,
Yeah,
which
I
has
also
been
have
like
a bunch
more
of
interesting.
various courses that are just incomplete.
Yeah, a lot of
And I
them.
keep unsubscribing to the emails telling me I didn't finish. I know I didn't finish. You don't have to keep telling me. But yeah, it seems like a pretty common thread. A lot of people, go through that route. And then I know Akinloye, you decided to come to us because we offer that mentor guided program with a little bit more
Yes,
structure,
yes.
and like we try to guarantee success with, partnerships and stuff like that. But Ko, so where are you now with your data science journey?
Okay, so I want to like tie it in with all that's been said. Once you do enough courses, you realize that like that's the anthem of people who take online courses. I didn't finish, right? You get some knowledge out of it, but you don't finish. So I realized I needed a structure, right? So at this point, I mean, I'm a co-founder of a business and all, but I decided to take the route of going back to school to get so that I'm in, first of all, I'm in company with people who are learning the same things, people who are interested in the same things, and more importantly, I have direct supervision. Because my problem with courses was that if I had a problem, I couldn't ask Andrew Ng. I couldn't ask
Mhm.
Sebastian Tran. I couldn't. There was no back and forth. It was coming one way, and you either got it or you didn't. So I'm starting school this fall. I mean, if not for COVID, I would have been leaving Ghana, like, or I would have left Ghana by now. But I'm going to Carnegie Mellon University, their Rwanda campus, starting this fall to focus on applied machine learning under their electrical and computer engineering master's program. So that's where I am. I'm still, let's say, I'm a little bit of an above average beginner at this point. That's how I look at things. So yeah, I've played with a lot of things, but I'm going in with the mindset that it's quite possible there's so much I've learned that is wrong. It's working, but it's wrong fundamentally. So I'm going in with this new beginner's mindset to this program, and I'm hoping to come out in a year or a year and a half with, first of all, the degree, which is sort of like approval that this guy actually knows what he says he knows, and more hands-on experience in the field. Yeah.
Whoa, I love that. I feel challenged. We won't get into that though. But I have a question for you. So my question is, does it ever stop, right? Considering you went into data science because you're afraid of a machine taking your job. Okay. So now you learn data science, then do you ever think what next?
Ah, well, there's also the question of should it stop? Because learning is an everyday thing. Every day we learn new things. Of course, you can't say you'll always be going for. Well, some people do, but like I think you call them career students. So I don't want to be one of those. But it's not that every day I'm going to enter a new master's program or a PhD program and just keep paying money and going or looking for scholarships and like nah. There are a few things, a few ideas that really interest me, like that I have genuine interest, and if I can find myself in the middle of that field doing something significant, I will know fulfillment as far as that is concerned. I'm a pretty good software developer. I could stop and just build and hope that I build fast enough and make enough money before the machines take over. But I mean, anyway, I'm not really such a strong believer in all this. The machines will take over. I just believe that with every industrial revolution, some people lose their jobs, some people gain new jobs. Like things change, and if you're not equipped for what is coming, you find yourself on the wrong side. So that's that. Just to put some perspective on what I mean when I'm talking about machines taking over. That's what I mean. But
Right.
how do I put it? At any point in time, if I find myself solving certain problems I'm really interested in solving, I'll be satisfied. I know that as the problems evolve, my approach to the problems will also have to evolve. So I will constantly find myself learning until I die. I might not find myself taking more courses, but I'll definitely be learning something new every day. And yeah, so I don't think it will stop in the sense of learning new things. But as far as going for higher academic qualifications go, so that will definitely stop. I don't like the classroom that much.
Thank you. I guess, to be honest, I was just asking that for myself because I get that question a lot. I love the answer. I'll have to feel that from you, Keo. Yeah, so learning doesn't stop, but then, yeah, the acquiring of more like academic work that may be stalling. So, I guess at this point, right, I'm curious to know, being in the ecosystem, the data science ecosystem or the tech ecosystem itself, right? What's your opinion on how we're performing, say as a continent in Africa? Do you think we can compare, right? Are there enough institutions or like support? The way I also did some online programs. We start online and then we figure out, okay, let's go into an institution, get that support, right? So do you think there's enough support like that on the continent or no?
Okay, so yes and no. Yes and no. Um, I think I should start with the no. There are a lot of these things that spring up. Okay, and I'm trying to choose the right words. Um, there are so many support systems, okay, or so-called support systems that have sprung up. Some of them are actually, and so here's the thing: any institution, any organization, any body is not like a standalone thing. It's actually made up of the people who are in there. So, for example, MEST is a great community because of the kind of people we met in there. Okay, if we were to take out even our cohort, we were to take out the people from there, the shell that is left could not do much. All right. So the communities, the support, all of it is really just comprised of people who are like-minded, people who are serious about what they are doing, people who are driven, right? So for as many communities or support systems out there that actually have these kind of people, they are doing a great job. I think I can mention a few. Something like there's this one group. It's called. I'm speaking from a Ghanaian perspective. AIA Ghana. That's Artificial Intelligence Association of Ghana. Okay. When I look at their conversations that are being had there, I see people who are really doing like solid work. It's like somebody is benchmarking papers that have been written and that kind of thing. People go out of their way to make sure they are doing stuff. There are other communities too that when you get there, it's just talk and there's a lot of hype, and there are people who are taking on all these big titles. Like it looks like a PR stunt some of the time. So there are some genuinely interested people, like people who really want to learn this stuff. If they find themselves in a group where there's people who know their stuff, people who are actually doing the work and are ready to help, they are able to get good help. But when they find themselves in these PR stunt communities, by the time you realize people lose energy, then it's over, and it makes it look like it's such a difficult field when in fact you just didn't get the right kind of association in the beginning. So I know quite a number of really good like the AI Saturday guys in Lagos, and I think they've spread to Rwanda now. There's this African Master of Machine Intelligence thing, was started by, or it's headed by, I think headed by Mustafa Sise. That's the head of Google AI in Africa. There are a number of these groups and programs and courses that actually exist. If you get yourself into one of those things, you will learn a lot. You will start to compete on Zindi and Kaggle and actually be winning stuff and be doing stuff that's great. But when you get into some of these other groups, you end up, I don't know, you fall flat on your face. You start with all this energy, some people come in as total noobs, like they've never written a line of Python. They write hello world, they show them a little Django Flask, and then they leave you hanging, that kind of thing. So in the end, because I've said a lot, in the end, it really becomes an individual effort. There are some individuals who are putting in the work, and as far as I'm concerned, they are either making Africa proud, or they will definitely make Africa proud if they continue on this line. But there are quite a number of people too who are just in it for the hype, and hype never lasts. So that's why I said yes and no. I wish I could give a straight answer, but it's just tough to give a straight answer on this.
No, it makes
Wow.
sense. That makes sense. You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like you were just so amazed by your answer that you had to take a second to pause. But it kind of sounds like you're hitting on a key few points in terms of what people really need to move forward. Sounds like a sense of community or a sense of support. When you say, so with that community sense, it's interesting how you put it. It's still an individual effort at the end of the day, but you still need that kind of support, that community to keep you going, motivate you, but then also kind of show you the ropes. So one of the things that we do at the Gradient Booster that we're trying to build is that sense of community, that sense of support, but while trying to maintain that individual ownership and accountability. I know one thing Akinloye said that he likes about is the accountability checks. We don't leave our students alone. We kind of call them every single week. And do you find that annoying, Akinloye, or do you like that? Honestly.
Honestly, I really like that. I love it, in fact. And then I feel like it helps me keep track of my progress also. Because sometimes you can just be working and then just forget that, okay, you're even accomplishing things. But then when you have to discuss it with somebody at the end of the week, it actually makes you feel better about it. Oh, okay, I'm learning. And I know, okay, fine. Next week, I have to do this, I have to do that. And that type of thing. So yes, I love it. I love it.
Okay, that's good to know.
I'm actually jealous. I'm really jealous of you, man. I wish I had somebody who was calling me, check. Oh, well, actually, I do have one friend who, every time we don't talk much, but we talk like once a month, but it's always like an hour to 2 hours, of conversation about how we are pushing each other, what are we doing, how have we improved over the last month or so. So that kind of accountability is really, really great. Yeah, you're in a good place.
Trust me, you need a Jasmine in your life. Jasmine will call you every week, Friday.
Wait, it's a planned call. I'm not just calling everybody like, what are you doing? It's a very structured situation. But thank you, Akinloye. But yeah, I think that's a common theme, because now that I'm thinking about it, and Carrie, you can tell me if this resonates with you from a business point of view. But even in the business that I was part of before the Gradient Boost, every single Saturday, get together with some friends, co-founders, and just like say, so what are you doing in your business? What are you doing in your business? And that really does, it whips you into shape. You know that you have to talk about it, and people are going to ask you questions and not just let you slide when you're like, it didn't really happen for me. Why? That kind of, thing. And then also just being mindful, I think, constantly reflecting, constantly having to think for yourself, what did I accomplish this week? Why didn't I do better? What did work for me? And how can I keep that going, kind of thing? That's something that we're also trying to instill. But then also like communicating within the community. So we have a Slack channel for, each cohort. And we are always encouraging our students, like talk about what you're going through. Like on a personal level too, open up if you say, hey, this is really killing me. Like this math stuff is making me remember about that one math teacher 10, 20 years ago who made me feel bad. Like it's little things like that. We can all relate to that. We all had that math teacher, or a few. So, I think it helps when you feel like, I feel like these journeys of self-improvement can be lonely at times. So it depends on, who you have in your circle, or like who you have around you. Some people, they'll respect you from a distance, but they're not going to like step in with you. They're not going to step in like to the dust with you. So I feel like that's one thing that we really want to do, try to make sure that everyone feels supported in some way. It's got emotional.
A lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, just so much wisdom in there. Yeah, that's right. Perfectly agree.
And in your business journey, how was that road for you?
Business. Okay, so first time I tried to start a business, I was in, I think my first year university. I started a guitar school with a friend,
Oh, what
and I
school?
think a guitar. I
Oh,
played the
cool.
guitar, and after one or two semesters, like it just completely went south. I well, for one thing, there was the issue of time management and the like, but I've never I never had that. I don't know. Much as I would like to work for myself, I hadn't tried it,
Mm.
right? So when I tried that, I mean, after a while, I didn't know how to price. I didn't know like anything. So to be honest, if I can have a meaningful business conversation with anybody, I have to be thankful to MEST, right? But starting out in business, so first of all, our company was multicultural, as is most of the companies in MEST, because they pick from so many corners of Africa. And starting a business in Ghana with a multicultural team, that's why you understand that some of the blockers to Africa's development are by our own systems that exist. Because it shouldn't be so hard to start a business when this is going to be something that's contributing to your economy, right? Why do you make it so tough for somebody to come from outside? You know, that kind of thing. So starting out the business, the first few weeks registration and all that was kudos to my CEO for doing for bearing the brunt of that work. Then we go into things like regulations because we are fintech, right? So now you have to play by the rules, fit into certain boxes, color in the lines, those kind of things. It's that is its own thing too. So starting a business for yourself, cool as it sounds, is not easy. Anybody who makes it look like it's easy is lying to you like flat out. It hasn't been easy, but I really love the flexibility. When I see people sitting in traffic, going to work and back, dressed officially, like these are my work clothes. I'm in my office right now, so that's part of like when COVID came, I wasn't worried about my job getting taken from me because nah. So there's a lot of pros and cons. It's not been easy, but I think I've largely enjoyed the process so far. My co-founders are amazing. They put in a lot of effort. Everybody pulls their weight. Yeah, and that's one of the hopes of me going to school. That when I come out, I should be able to know some stuff that I'm talking like practical knowledge, just not just head knowledge. I should be able to know some stuff that will still come back so that I can come back and pour into the business and push it forward. So business is not easy, but I think I still prefer this this life to the 9 to 5. And I'm not just saying it to sound cliche or to to 9 to 5s are good. You need somebody to work for. I hired an intern recently. You need people to be employees. Otherwise, systems don't work. But from my perspective, I really enjoy this, hard as it may be. Yeah.
I agree 100%, 100% about all of that. Like even from the journey, yeah, in college, trying out businesses that like they didn't really make sense entirely, or you knew you were not equipped to take it off the ground at the time, but you just needed to get in there. Because I also felt like that. I said, like, I don't know if I want to really do this whole office thing, but so I tried a little bit of both, and I think to this day, entrepreneurship still definitely makes sense. That's when I feel alive, when I'm
Yeah.
like working on my own thing, definitely. Akinloye, have you thought about entrepreneurship ever?
Well, yes, actually. I think I told you last week
Oh yeah, you
that I
just joined,
just,
yeah.
yeah, I just started, like, I opened like my own food truck somewhere around Lekki area. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
You didn't tell me it
Yeah,
was a food truck. That's cool.
yeah, it's a food truck. We do Chinese. Well, I don't do, the chef does.
Mm.
So I had a chef, yeah, so he does Chinese, and yeah, like it's, well, we're just taking it off the ground little by little. I'm thinking of implementing that data management solutions or data analysis solutions and data marketing solutions also to try and promote the business and hopefully grow it in 1 year. So yeah, I'm new to entrepreneurship and I hope it's as great as you both make it sound.
I mean, it's great and it's horrible, but I'm sure you'll have a good time. Do you think there's actually any applications for the things you're learning data science wise with your food truck business? Like one thing I've always been curious about for food trucks is like how do you know where to go and when? You know, if you're a mobile, restaurant, like how do I know that I'm gonna go to this street right here at this time and I'm gonna make the most money there?
Well, that is where data comes in. Yeah, collating data. Knowing, okay, that at this particular street or at this particular area, there are more offices, and then when they close by 4, they want to eat, or when they're like on lunch, on their lunch break, they want to get something to eat, or going to various schools like Unilag and Yaba Tech, because they are in the same environment, they're around Yaba, and then moving the truck there, like on maybe say let me say Wednesdays and Fridays when most people are in school. So yeah, I think that is where data analysis comes in. Collating all this data, doing my research, collating all this data, and then trying to make it work, moving the truck up around, and also using data to find out um people's favorite meals, your favorite type of Chinese. What do people actually prefer? Because in Nigeria, we don't actually eat Chinese. We eat Nigerian Chinese.
Mm.
Yeah, it was made to suit our taste buds. So yeah, so trying to find out what people like, what people want to eat is also how I'm going to use data science or data analysis to how I'm going to implement that into the business. So I'm just working up my strategy for now and just like, you know, planning next move.
That should definitely be a project if you're interested. We can definitely get Rafio or someone to help you out with that.
Oh really? I would love that. I would
Yeah, no, you should
really
definitely make
love
that your
that.
project.
All
Yeah, we
right.
can work on
Yeah.
that. That's cool.
Okay.
That's really
Thank
cool.
you. Yeah.
And then Vivian, what has been your experience with entrepreneurship? Is it a lonely road of sad nights where you're crying or full of triumph? Something in
I
between?
wouldn't say I wouldn't say sad night or crying, more of like sleepless night. But um, I do agree with Loye and Keo in terms of it's grueling, number one, and then on Keo's point, right? As much as we went through the MEST program and it was 1 year, and we learned a lot, right? You still have to learn on the job. You can't escape that. You still have to learn on the job. But with that said, another thing I wanted to ask Loye and Cleo, right? And you just let me also ask you this: is do we foresee a time where you can't run a business not data? Because personally, I am learning data science at ALU, and the reason I went to ALU is because of my other venture. We are a data venture and we deal with agricultural data. So I wanted to know what I was doing with our data, right? So Cleo going to data science, do a data science course, and we hope to come back and use that knowledge in his company. So is saying that he wants to use data to be able to know, make intelligent decisions around him. So what's your take, guys, on whether there'll come a time where you can't have a business that's not data driven? Is that a thing?
Oh,
Uh, quick answer is I think you will always be able to do it, but you won't survive in the future.
I actually didn't hear the full question.
I didn't hear the beginning of it. I just answered the part that I did hear. Um, the part that I got was, will there be a time when businesses will not speed data? Wait, sorry, no, Vivian, please just restate the question.
So the question is, will there come a time when you can't run a business if it's not data driven?
Ooh, okay. It depends, Ali, from my end. I think it depends on the kind of business,
Yeah, that's true.
right? Stuff like, and okay, well, so let me. It's an issue of skill, right? When you get to a certain skill, you probably won't be able to be as efficient or as effective without data. For example, entertainment. You don't need data to be entertained, right? If it's a comedian, he makes the joke, you laugh. If it's a movie, I mean, they act, you are entertained. If it's music, blah blah blah. But there are companies that are taking into account the kind of music that is out there at the moment, what people are responding to, and they are producing more and getting better responses. There are, I mean, banks that use data, or people who give out loans and the like, credit checks. These are all data applications. So it's not that somebody can't be a loan shark without thinking about data, you understand, but he can't run on the same scale as a bank or as a financial institution that's actually minding, paying attention to their data. So I guess anybody can run any business at any point in time. But if you do the extra work of employing some data analytics, or just torture the data till it gives you some information that the other person doesn't have, you put yourself in a position to do better. So it's an issue of skill, it's an issue of a competitive advantage, but it won't be impossible to work without data, I think. Yeah, that's my opinion.
You actually got me thinking about that though. So remember how you said, like, even for entertainers, you just gotta get up there, do your thing, and all that stuff. But there's companies that also help you to understand like your analytics and stuff like that. Like even nowadays, for a lot of entertainment, it's still about the numbers. It's about how you market, yourself, and then that still requires data behind it. And if you don't have a team behind you that can really push you forward, will you make it without that data to show like, hey, you should go on this show, or you should go and talk on this radio show if you want to promote your album, and this is where you need to do your shows to get yourself to the top of the Billboard chart. Like I still feel like there's a ton of data going behind the people who have actually like made it to the top. And even like, so obviously I'm thinking about the US right now, but like even if you're thinking outside of it, I'm starting to think that even on a small scale, even with marketing, even if you don't consider it data, you're still using information to gain insights, and then iterating based off that. So it depends, I guess, on how you define, data. If you want to really say you're like actually, using a tool or running analytics, yeah, that's one thing. But if you think about it, people are still using data in one way or another. I guess the only way that you're not is if you're just not taking an input. Yeah, exactly. If you're not taking in from your environment and then making decisions based off that. But that's a very like, I guess, like base level definition of data in that fact.
You just reminded me of something I saw, the NBA, the amount of data analytics that goes, like, every pass is tracked, like not just the shots, every pass, every block, it's actually tracked, and they finish the match and there's a sheet with all the stats, and I remember when I first saw that, I've forgotten whose conference it was, one of these big, tech players. I think was it Google? I don't remember. But they actually have data sets like at the end of a match showing how many passes you made, how many blocks you attempted, how many shots. And I mean, I look at it this way, whoever will be able to implement that first in an African setting is going to stand out from the bunch, because you at that point you have a tool that the other teams don't have, and you probably win about 3 leagues in a row before the rest catch up to what you are doing. So it's a serious competitive advantage.
Yeah, and then once people start realizing there is a competitive advantage, then everyone's going to get on board, and then it's going to become the new normal. So in a way, yeah, I think there will be a time when eventually everyone has some kind of data, even like in the informal sector, even in agriculture, like the way that first started, people were just using like USSD on a phone, and people still are, and that still works for people. But I mean, that's still using data, that's still using analytics.
Yeah, I guess that is true. That is true. Yeah.
Vivian, did that answer? All right, no, sorry,
I
you go
guess
ahead.
everybody have answered the question already. I don't think there's anything for me to say anymore. So all I'll say is that yeah, at the end of the day, every company will need data to be able to function properly, or to be able to stand out, like you said already. And I think to contribute to the entertainment thing, yeah, I would say you know how everybody uses Apple Music now. Yeah, Apple Music actually spends a lot of time collating data to ensure that it's giving you music in a particular sector that suits you. Like there's Apple Music Nigeria, there's Apple Music US, Apple Music Ghana, and then there's even they have like different playlists. I think all the playlists really involves data collection. Yeah, because or else how else you know, okay, this is what people in a particular region would love to listen to and would love to like hear. So yeah, that's my say on the entertainment thing. Over to you, Vivian.
Wait, I want to say one thing though with that.
All
I
right.
think sometimes data collection can be creepy. I remember there was an ad. And it said, to the person who listened to "Sorry" by Justin Bieber on Valentine's Day 17 times in a row, what happened? Like that was an ad, like from their data. Like they saw somebody did that and they like put it out there. So they started like running ad campaigns about their listeners' habits and like literally picking individual people. Like that person who listens to this song at night, like who hurt you? You know, like that kind of thing. Like that kind of thing creeps me out a little bit, to be honest. But I see the benefit of it, but it does make it's a little weird to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember last year they told me all the song I listened to throughout the year, like with dates, with month, and everything. My favorite artists, they figured out my favorite artists, my favorite songs on the album. They brought out everything, every single thing.
And I wonder, I personally don't look at that and be like, oh my God, you know me so well. It's like, like I don't know anyone who reacts to that. I don't know what the kind of reaction they're looking for, but like I do like predictive though. I like when it can predict what I will like. That I do think that's pretty cool. And I found that useful, like discovering new music and stuff like that. Like even YouTube is getting pretty good at that. Like if you notice,
Yes,
like the
yes, they are.
YouTube mixes that they put together for you, they're actually pretty like spot on a lot of the time, and that's come from the data that they have on like your listening habits and then other people's similar listening habits and stuff like that. So I'm actually excited in the music space to see how data actually influences that one.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, and you guys did answer my questions. And it's really, I don't know, there's something to say about the fact or the kind of examples we give, especially on the continent, like in terms of like companies that have done stuff, right? Have you guys noticed?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Apple, YouTube, Facebook, where the African countries. But I think we're headed there, right? And then to the
Yes.
point of what we are trying to do. And I think Jasmine can echo me on this. We are trying to work with companies, and what we found out is most companies don't have like a unit dedicated to do their data stuff. You know, the way
Yes.
you would have like a financial team, like a HR team. There's no data science just dedicated take care of their data, and they have a lot of data, and we're finding that we're providing that value, which is really, for me, it's shocking because I just assumed, okay, these big companies should have this by now. But I feel like as a continent, we're getting there, and I hope one day one of our companies will be the example. Like, see the way Niqao is using their data. That would be nice, right?
Yes, that
I
would be nice.
remember before you left Ghana, I think we went for that hackathon. Um, you know, I think it was me and Ibrahim, and then when we won that laptop, yeah, and then there was, but in the end, it fell apart a little because getting the I think it was some governmental agricultural data kind of thing, and then people were just so slow, with the back and forth. I feel like our systems don't help us too much, but we we will get there eventually. I just hope it's sooner than later, where we can make what needs to be made available, readily available on time, so that people can actually use it to do stuff. Yeah.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. I agree. And sorry, Jasmine. Keo had made a point about like being in business. Jesus, when you're running a diverse team and they have to relocate, the policies around like working in a country, you're treated like a foreigner. I mean, you're from Africa. I will think these policies, they shouldn't be these strangers, right? Because then I think as a continent, that's also why we're lagging behind. Because if you're gonna tell me I need to pay a working permit as a foreigner, I can't play on the same level, right? And it's not like we are being funded that much money to actually pay for a work permit fee. So yeah, to be honest, policies around how business is run in the continent do not work on in our favor, but hopefully we will get there in time. Sorry, Jasmine, you were saying something.
No, I forgot, but I liked what you said better.
Yeah.
But no, but yeah, I definitely agree. There's different positions on this. With like a Pan-African approach to immigration, for example, things like that. But yeah, like when you look at the barriers to doing business in a lot of these countries, it's just like you said, like there's initiatives. I think there's structures. I think people understand what needs to be done. Sure, it's not exactly widespread to the point where like there's a huge amount of people rushing towards the data field, for example. That's coming up. I think, for example, like open data initiatives, because like you said, Kay, like with the slowdown with getting government data, that's why people created open data initiatives. Just like when like blockchain was supposed to be the biggest thing in Africa, it just made people realize more that, hey, we can't be using blockchain if our data integrity isn't there. So people started working on data integrity. I think people are starting to like get in on like the bottom aspects to climb up that tree to create the full picture, and that's something that I find inspiring. And then another thing is African tech talent is there. That's one thing so the business that we ran before this was to promote African tech talent. We're trying to get freelancers positions because, why can't freelancing be a viable career option, especially when unemployment can be so high in a lot of countries. But one thing that I'm personally looking forward is some like African world domination type thing, because especially in the US, so I don't know if you heard, there's a particular visa, a work visa that a lot of companies, especially tech companies, were using to bring tech talent in from abroad, usually from India. For the most part, it's people from India. Now that this visa isn't becoming as much of an option because of certain people in the White House. But this is in a way, so you can't necessarily bring talent to the US, and we rely on foreign talent. We rely on it. So now if you can't do that, so what's the next big thing? COVID, kind of pushed us forward, but remote work. Who has a bunch of talented people to do remote work besides India? People are looking for a new direction and things like that. Like, I want to make sure that African tech talent becomes the next, like, hey, like, look over here for your tech talent. I think for the gradient boost, that's definitely in our long-term pipeline. So we definitely want people to obviously empower the continent. We want people to work for found companies in Africa, but we also want people to be able to, cash in on that money abroad. If you want to work for a company, a big company, or any company anywhere, it's all about options. I think that's one form of empowerment, having options. So it'd be amazing, I think, if African tech talent can be on a more global stage, and by taking advantage of policies like that. That's definitely something that we want to capitalize on in the future.
Yeah, I agree. there's just so much talent around, and yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's beautiful. It's the amount of talent, the amount of talented people I've met in the last year or two is just amazing. So I really do agree. Yeah.
And I don't know why Americans are over here. I'm telling you, we are not like, I'm telling you, like Africa needs the confidence. I don't know why people over here have so much confidence, but I feel like I was in South Africa for 4 years on and off. And the people, obviously you have people from all over Africa who end up in South Africa too. But yeah, the people I met, it kind of hurts me in a way to know that, like, why can't we be on par? Why aren't people looking to Africa for talents, or even to talk to, even on like international podcasts and stuff. Like there's plenty of stuff happening in this continent. There's plenty of stuff happening. And I think too, if we were able to highlight some of that stuff a little bit more, I think it would help. Partnerships are very important to businesses. Partnering with African companies can be very helpful to both parties too. I don't know. I just want to like amplify the talent that is on the continent. That's kind of one of my personal missions, things that I'm interested in.
And I think what you guys are doing, especially with mentorship, is actually one of the key components to making sure that African talent is pushed far. Because, like you were saying, it doesn't always make sense why you're not confident. But sometimes a lot of this is, the idea of what's this thing called imposter syndrome, right? I remember one talk I was supposed to give, or I gave, right? When I saw the list of speakers and I measured myself against them, I was like, are you guys sure I should be giving this talk, right? But I went, I gave the talk. It worked, it was successful. So there are people who are doing the stuff. Why did I say this? I think it was a meme. It says there are people who are doing the stuff you want to do simply because they believe in themselves, but you're probably better than them when it comes to that anyway. So there is a lot to be said for gaining confidence to put yourself out there. Sometimes you will fail. Yes, you will put yourself out there and you might not be able to do what it is that you are hoping to get done. But failure is just a lesson, right? I had this old roommate who used to say, he was talking about love and relationships, but let me apply it to this. He said he either wins or he learns, and he has learned a lot. So in business, yeah, I guess the same applies. You win or you learn, and if you are able to pick yourself up when you fail, success is just a few more tries ahead. So, yeah.
Definitely. And I think, failure can be risky, definitely, but I think we need to embrace it a lot more. Like when you see somebody who, is trying, especially, you see somebody with a business and they're trying and they fail at it. Unfortunately, it casts a lot of shame for some people. And sometimes it's the people who are around them who are pushing that shame. I think if we could respect failure more, that would be helpful. Like even things like parents definitely don't help. They do not
No,
help.
they don't.
So,
They don't.
yeah, you just have to kind of develop a thick skin and be like, all right, that's them, but this is my lane. You just have to kind of keep pushing on that. I know Akinloye, you spoke about how like your family they don't know what you're studying right now. They don't know what
They have
you're.
they have no idea. They have no idea
Yeah.
what I'm doing. They have no idea that I even know I know. They just know that
Mhm.
okay, that I'm doing something and I'm helping out in the house. And
Would they
I'm
find
growing
out
up.
now? I'm just like, what? Would they find out after you say this? Okay, I didn't know this. I'm just sure. Oh, sorry, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, that's basically it. They don't know. And I don't think I want to explain to my 50-year-old mom and my like 6-something-year-old dad that, oh, this is what data science is, and this is what digital marketing is, and I feel like that would be a lot of work. So they know I'm working, they know I'm learning. That's good. Let's just be that way.
Okay, that
Fortunately,
makes
though, when they say that if you failed at something, they don't know what you failed at, but they're mad. Trust me, I've gotten that from my father. What was it? So I was a Salesforce consultant, so like CRM stuff, and my parents just kind of think like I do stuff with on a computer. There's something on a computer, and then she's in there. And then I remember I was talking about like, oh, I didn't do so well. I was like doing a training or something for people. I didn't do so well. And then my father's like, you should know how to do these things. You know, when you see these people are typing, why can't you do that? Anyway, yeah. You just gotta ignore it. I said, all right, Dad, thank you.
I mean that the generational gap is a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's really weird growing up. And I think it might happen to, at least I hope it doesn't. I hope technology, evens out or should I say, progresses in such a way that I'm able to understand the technology my kids will be engaging with. It will also be the dinosaurs in the room one day.
I feel like you are for sure, right? I have a niece, 6 years old. And the other day she was doing her assignments and she was like, okay, Google, 4 plus 2. I'm like,
4 plus 2.
I think you're supposed to be doing that by yourself. You're not supposed to be calling
Exactly.
on Google. But they do it. So I feel like this is up as much as I'm tech savvy and it will happen to us. So I usually try take my mom slowly as much as she won't grasp some things. But yeah, I'm just waiting my turn. But it will happen, KO, for sure.
What if we build the tech they use? I mean, that could be a way out. If you're
But,
building
but
the tech they use.
but I think considering like we like you said, like you're always learning. So I don't think there'll be a point where I'll stop learning definitely and like don't take on new courses or new or don't embrace new technology. So I feel like that's the difference between us and our parents. Our parents grew up in a world where technology was not really a thing. I mean, they didn't even have phones growing up, or they didn't have phones that were like the phones that we use now growing up. So I feel like they had no idea. All they were probably doing was management and engineering and business and maybe a little bit of farming. I don't know, and maybe doctors, yeah, pharmacy and all that, yeah. So I remember growing up. I don't know. Nobody ever said, "Oh, I want to become a data scientist," or "I want to become a software developer." It was later on that all those started coming in. So I feel for us, I feel that considering that we are always learning and then we're always in the know. So I feel we will not really have a problem catching up when that time comes.
But there's the part of sorry guys, I feel like I'm busting your bubble. There's a part where there's a part where with time the rate at which you can learn or absorb things goes down, right? So
Yeah, yeah, of course, of
I was
course.
I was in a meeting with a group of people like they're leaders in their different sectors, and I felt so awkward because I'm just okay. I just started my startup the other day. But what I realized is with the older generation is they sorry my internet the older generation what they do have against us is access, but what we have on them is that we are always learning. So that's beautiful. But with time, it's more of like the learning slows down. You can't grasp things as fast as you normally do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I will say though, things are becoming a little bit more accessible though. Like even with data science, there's tools that you don't need to know every single, model and
Yeah.
algorithm now. You're going to be able to use some of the same principles like with clicks. That whole low code, no code movement, click not code movement is coming up too. But I think like while your kids are like flying on their hovercrafts and whatnot, and you're too old to get on it with them, they're going to be flying away to, and then on the telepathically communicating. You don't know what the kids are saying. You're lost. You get annoyed. You go crazy. It's this whole thing. But you will be able to at least probably do better than your peers who weren't as like tech savvy and like constantly learning. So I think we're just going to be the better equipped old people. That's what we can hope for.
I mean, the rate at which things are changing, because I mean, the stuff is crazy now. Like these new stuff, like GPT-3 and all these new things that I heard there was a blog set up and people didn't know it was this model that was writing on the blog post. People came and read the stories, really engaged, and then after a few weeks they go and check, and it's not been a human being writing all along. They've just been watching this model.
Poetry, music, movies.
Yeah. So I mean, things will definitely change. Things will definitely change. But it's a ride. It's a journey. We enjoy the journey. There's not really a destination as far as this data science stuff is concerned. It's progressing, and we'll keep up with it as best we can. Yeah. And hopefully we are part of those making the changes and causing the new innovations and whatnot.
True.
Okay, it's been a good hour, and I think that was a very inspirational note to end on. Thank you, Keo.
Well, I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Vivian said at the beginning, I've never told this story, that we climbed the mountain together.
Oh yeah.
She fell and I caught her. She almost died that day.
Wait, what?
Vivian, do you remember? It was traumatic. You should remember. She was coming down the mountain at some high speed, and I had to catch her.
What?
Wait, why were you? Yeah, now you have to tell the story.
When I say I climbed the mountain, I climbed the mountain. Yeah. It's an achievement for me. But yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring up, I'm a little bit of a superhero, and this was my dancing. I saved Vivian's life once.
I appreciate it. I owe you for life.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's all. I'm done.
Well, thank you, Keo, because now Vivian's here and she's on our team. So it's really all to you. That we really just owe to you.
Yes, everyone owes Keo.
Akinloye, you too. We all have to say thanks. We all have to give thanks to Keo.
Thank you, Keo.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Now we're keeping an eye out for you guys.
All right.
Thank
Same
you.
to you.
Awesome.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.